And now we sat at the losers' table. It had been a matter of protocol, as it had been done dozens of times. There was no malice in the procedure we had exacted upon humanity. It was just standard protocol. Whenever a new species burst upon the interplanetary scene, the United Federation did a complex but deterministic calculation. They took a look at a series of factors regarding the new species' culture, biology, their position within the galaxy, their drives and motivations, their leadership, their fighting capabilities. All to answer a single too important question. Would it be more beneficial to allow them into the Federation, or to exterminate them? This act was not evil. It was a result of natural consequences, of the laws of the universe itself and the drive that every species had to survive. To allow a single new species to exist was a matter of great risk. Even a weak civilization could glass more than half a dozen planets before a proper response could be mounted. The nature of interplanetary warfare gave great advantage to a first strike. So in order to better protect themselves, even a small risk of an attack had enormous weight upon the balance that decided the fate of billions. Such a calculation had been done to humanity 3 standard cycles ago. It could be said that the results were not in humanity's favor. A species that was brash, arrogant, that reproduced quickly and were capable industrialists. A species that had advanced too quickly through the technology tree and had not yet forgotten their ancient, tribal and animalistic desires. A species that flew too close to the sun a few too many times, but had landed on their feet and so not learned their lesson. All of these things are true, but I know the true reason for the red stamp that assigned humanity's future away was of another nature. It is true that the results put them too close to the edge. Their histories were filled with tyrants bathing their ground upon blood, and then gaining glory for millennia. But when they arrived to us, it seemed they had long ago abandoned these ancient roots. They were struggling, but cooperating among each other. I now understand the reasons why they would hate each other so much. It was the same reason for our loss. Their innate differences, their calluses. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go back to what happened in the correct chronological order. As we discovered the fledgling system that humanity had built for themselves, we made standard contact. We were amazed to find 2 things. The government system that they had implemented, which was a loose confederation of different interest groups, along with their radical idea of nations. The second was the speed at which they had reached their technological state, for they had started agriculture a mere 10 to 12,000 years before their current state. None of these were unheard of, but their combinations of an uncooperative series of governments, along with their rapid advancement, was unique. We started the procedure as always, requesting a few members of each caste, and examining them thoroughly. During this time, human and Federation representatives were exchanged. We studied each other's culture, our histories, and engaged in diplomacy. It was here that we made our first crucial mistake. Seeing humanity advance at lightning speed, even during the first 50 years after we made contact, during the stage where we were supposed to examine each other and learn, the powers that be felt that immediate action needed to be taken before a peer-to-peer warfare would be possible. Still, with our scientific and anthropological observations, we had quite a clear picture of humanity's capabilities, so we were confident that all-out war was a sure victory. Herein lies what I believe to be our second mistake, and our gravest one. Current warfare relies on overwhelming the opponent in a matter of days or weeks. Infantry takes almost no place in the fight, yet they are the most vital part of the scheme. With our current technologies, far more important than might or strength is dedicated to the industrial capabilities of a state. The golden prize is awarded to whoever can take as much ground as possible, turn around the factories and resources, and then increase severely their own output while crippling their opponent. And it is in this stage that infantry excels, holding ground. While auto artillery and drone strikes can wipe a city, survivors can cling the rubble and lie in wait. While bombs and lasers can clear a factory of enemy combatants, they cannot operate the machines, transport the product, retrofit the systems. Only infantry can clear the opponents practicing asymmetrical warfare, work in factories, make decisions on the fly and with very limited information. Current standards dictate at least 10% of a species must be of the warrior caste to take part in these actions. Upon examinations of the humans' division of labour, we found their current members capable of fighting, 0.2%. Even this number is a lie, for they assign their warrior caste in organisations called militaries, and the 0.2% number includes support, artillery, logistics, and other roles not directly involved in the fighting. Our leaders salivated when finding that out. That was the true reason for our disastrous results. They saw a newborn sitting on a pile of gold. It was not necessary to truly research them, to befriend them, to understand them. Why? When you can just take from them. When the reveal of this utmost farce was taking place, the human representative invited to witness the results, and the subsequent declaration of war was sitting beside me. This was our third mistake, though it was a personal one, my most profound sin. That when I heard the human chuckle, I did not stop it all. And now we had lost. So again I sat in the very same table. It seemed a human tradition to give the terms of peace in the same place where war was declared, or when a last victory had been achieved. They had done the same in Versailles, though at the time I did not know, so barely we understood them. The same human representative that had been here 3 cycles ago entered the room. Stern, he seemed to have aged 10 times the time that had passed. My job normally does not allow for pompous speeches, for monologues or grand declarations. People often find them arrogant where I come from, and my job is to make even my enemies feel comfortable and ready to cooperate, the human started. Yet, as we say, the weak suffer what they must, and since you have lost, you have no choice but to listen to me. I sat before you in this very room so long ago when your sham of a decision was made, when you pretended to be very concerned about our intentions and our warrior culture, when you took the high ground while preparations for genocide were taking place back door. I was sure of our demise, but how could a system which has exacted this same destruction upon hundreds of others fail this time? Yet when you were presenting your so-called findings, I realized that you didn't know the first thing about us, that you didn't know we would win. You asked for willing members of every one of our castes to be delivered for scientific purposes, and you reached the wrong conclusion that we had stopped producing infantry, warriors, fighters. During this war, I too learned that we are an exception, that we are not bred for specific roles in mind, that we are mutable, that we adapt more than I thought. When a human lifts more and more weight, our very muscles and bones change. They become stronger, bigger, faster. When the human mind is faced with the unknowable, it sees different ways. Our neural pathways twist and turn to understand new concepts that most of us can't even comprehend. But they weren't bred for this. They're just standard stock humans. While your species needs generations to breed and expand your caste of warriors or scholars, inside every human there is a warrior, a scholar, a worker, a leader. Only the circumstances need to change for us to change. I realized that here in this very room. When you examined our researches, you concluded that all humans of the scholar class possess thicker skin on their fingers of the left hand. A few explanations were posited for that, but you didn't delve deeper. That researcher in particular was a violinist. For so long she had scraped her fingers to play music, that her skin itself grew thicker and stronger to bear the abrasion. She developed calluses, and so when you attacked us with all you had, with your mighty weapons and thousands of strategies, you didn't stop to think for 1 second about what we are. Against pressure we do not break. We push right back.